Thanks so much for having me here to testify today on the continuing importance of the EDA and especially on an important new possible role that it needs to shoulder. As it stands, the agency plays an essential role in supporting economic adjustment, as we've heard today, and resilience in local places, large and small, urban and rural, amid constantly changing conditions. For that reason, it not only merits reauthorization, but its budget needs to be increased, I would say. And yet, while the Commerce Department's EDA remains invaluable in its current mission, it is my view that the agency's reach and responsibilities also need to grow in response to a new issue, the opportunities and challenges for people and places associated with the spread of powerful new technologies, especially automation and increasingly artificial intelligence. That's why I want to argue that in reauthorizing the agency, policymakers should also broaden the EDA's mission and budget to include a concern about the impact of automation on local communities. The need for EDA attention to automation and AI follows from the breadth of these technologies' reach combined with their uneven impacts, which stem from the tendency to amplify the productivity of skilled work and substitute, that is, do away with, rote or routine work. These uneven effects across work and tasks also lead to uneven effects across places, and in many ways share a lot in common with foreign competition, factory shutdowns, and corporate restructuring, other threats to communities that are part of EDA's recognized mission. How this is playing out specifically in places is something we've looked at Brookings with recent research report called Automation and Artificial Intelligence, How Machines Are Affecting People and Places. It shows we look both backwards and forwards in our research. What do we find? Overall, we've found that the future, we've overall found that the future shouldn't be cataclysmic in aggregate. Only about a quarter of people's jobs may be threatened with and face high exposure. However, that's 36 million jobs that could be jeopardized. And meanwhile, there's a lot of dislocation associated with this, and that dislocation will frequently be in the kinds of places that EDA currently serves. Specifically, our work looks at the geography of where these impacts will hit hard, and we see special impacts in heartland states, smaller cities and towns, and in rural America. We find specifically that the automation exposure of tasks reaches or exceeds 50% of all the work in no less than 43 of the nation's metropolitan areas and some 560 rural counties. Please check out my written testimony for maps and statistical detail on this, including data cut to your own district, so you can take a look at how this is playing out there. The upshot here is that while technology will surely benefit the nation in aggregate and in its best educated urban centers, its disparate local effects will likely hit home in disruptive, locally varied ways that may disrupt labor markets, could depress hiring, and necessitate arduous community transitions in our smaller communities. So, how should you as members of this committee think about this? A few things come to mind. To begin with, the EDA should be reauthorized and it should be significantly expanded. So making that major commitment is critical. But a few other things. I recommend that the reauthorization explicitly name automation as an economic disruption eligible for EDA economic adjusted assistance. A few other things. Reaffirm the EDA's commitment to regional full employment, especially to facilitate worker adjustment in hard-hit communities. Require that SEDS plans incorporate analysis of emerging technologies' impacts on local people, firms, and economy. This is an important thing for communities to be thinking about looking forward. Empower EDA to launch or participate in an interagency program to help communities implement these kinds of strategies, and even expand the scope of the Trade Adjustment Assistance for Firms program to help companies adapt. Chairman Titus, Ranking Member Meadows, EDA has steadily evolved over the years and to respond to a steady series of unfolding national concerns. Now, automation's inroads are hitting home with special force among many of the EDA's historic partners in heartland America. Likewise, many of the agency's existing tools are highly relevant for helping such communities. Given that, the upcoming reauthorization holds out a great opportunity for Congress to help America's people and places contend with a very tricky issue that is a great challenge for regions. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Mr. Miller.
Good afternoon, Chairman Titus,